You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now, with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
Good evening, everybody. What happened there? Why was that guy talking without any words coming out of his mouth? That's kind of weird, no? Good evening, everybody. It's Keith Engle with TGI Sports Talk's College Sports Huddle. We're down to the Sweet 16, guys. Been an interesting tournament, but not full of upsets. First time, I think, since 1975, I want to say, that no mid-majors make it to the Sweet 16. 4 number ones, 3 number twos, 2 number threes, 3 number fours, 1 number 5, and a number 10. Oh, and 2 sixes. None of them mid-majors. Colorado State should be there, by the way. What a screwing they got. We had 1 buzzer beater, really, in the entire tournament so far that I can remember. If I'm wrong, you can correct me. 1 buzzer beater in Maryland against Colorado State. Colorado State holding a slight lead. Maryland gets a shot at the buzzer. The kid took 5 steps. Why is it? Let me try something. Oh, that's not over there. I got a light every once in a while. Shines behind my background. I hate that. Anyway, if you like Cinderella, there is none. Arkansas, I guess, is 10, right? Arkansas is going to get a decent. Who are they going to match up with? They get my Michigan State team. Who do they get here just coming up this round? I think they get Michigan State. No, they got Ole Miss. Who's Arkansas got? Scroll down. Texas Tech. They might win another game. 7 teams, I think, from the SEC. I berated the fact they got 14 teams in there. Ole Miss, I don't know that I would have made one of them. They've kind of rolled through this tournament. 10 point. They won by. I want to say they won by. 13. 7 over North Carolina was not even that close. Been a fun tournament. And here we are too. By the way, Sweet 16 coming up. We'll go through all the games. And we're already got a transfer portal opened on Monday. Now, one kid, and I can't remember who it was. He doesn't play much. I want to say he plays for Michigan. I feel like it was a player's son. But this is the next thing with the portal, right? You're going to have teams in the middle of this tournament with guys leaving. Now, one kid left, one of the schools. I don't think anybody else left it from one of these Sweet 16 schools that I've heard. The guy's there is not even averaging a point a game, 4 minutes a game or something. And that was through the whole season. So that makes it crazy. What's been the good in this tournament? Power conferences have made out. They're doing good. The SEC's done great. Coach Cal and Arkansas, big winners. BYU, first time in the Sweet 16 in about nearly 20 years, I think. Who's the big losers? The Big East. Nobody left. St. John's. Pitino's got to live through a John Starks-like performance from his star player, Luis. And he benches him for the last 5 minutes. I can't blame him. He's right. Sitting in his press conference, those guys know why he's not playing. He's 3 for 17 and 0% from 3. And the mid-majors are the other losers here. I thought Gonzaga and St. Mary's both had a pretty good shot to at least. Well, that's Gonzaga. I think I had Houston win that game. But I had St. Mary's getting there. Who else did I have in the mid-majors? I thought we're going to go further. Let me get to your comments here. We'll look at it closer. Drake I had in the Sweet 16 as well. And their coach is gone. We'll get into some coaching news as well. We'll look at the tournament. We'll look at the pool, the brackets, the winners and losers. We'll look at some of the coaching moves, which are happening already. Sean Miller back in the big time. Not that Xavier's not a big time, but Sean Miller's back in the big time. It's funny. Sean Miller, Will Wade, the FBI's chasing them all over the country for like 3 years. Both of them lose their jobs at Arizona and LSU, respectively. Both have to kind of go crawling back to, Will Wade had to go to McNeese. No disrespect to McNeese. Sean Miller had to go back to his previous job at Xavier. Did a great job there. But now everything they do is legal. And so we'll welcome them back with open arms. They're both really good coaches. I don't know about people. Good evening, Dave Guyette. How are you? One of Syracuse's top players hit the portal Monday. AC, my man. How are you, my friend? No overtime yet, right? No overtime games and one buzzer beater. And that one shouldn't have gone the way that it went. I know you could pretty much, we got the Euro step, we got the hop step, we got all this nonsense in basketball these days. That kid took 5 steps going to the basket for Maryland. Colorado State got screwed, and their coach is on his way to a power conference. Medved had been kind of picky in where he was going to go, and he picks Minnesota. He's a native of I believe St. Paul, Minnesota, and he's going to go home. He might be better off at Colorado State. Chris F. Grave, thank you, my friend. I don't know about everybody going bonkers for college sports talk. TGI Sports Talk's college sports huddle. But we welcome Chris to the Great White North. It's cold down here, man. ACC would be losers. Yeah, they got anybody. Nobody's gone in, right? No, Duke's in there. I mean, look at Carol. I would say, yes, AC. They're losers as well. Maybe not in a sense because a lot of people had that conference as being down this year. I thought the conference was better than people thought. In fact, I thought Clemson was one of those teams that was going to surprise, and they surprised me by getting beat in the first round. But they got the number one favorite to go all the way now. We'll look at this. I'm going to give you my predictions in a little bit, but here's the matchups that we have, and I'm going to give it a rankings. We'll take them from the Athletic, I guess. Auburn against Michigan, a great 1-5 matchup. That'll be, you got 4 games Thursday, 4 games. Let me go through the scoreboard. It's easier because I can also give you the times. So Thursday night, or Friday night. No. All right. Thursday night, 7:00, BYU and Alabama. Watch out. Alabama plays no defense. BYU might score 100. This game could be in the hundreds. 7:00, that one is 7:09 on CBS. TBS True TV at 7:39, Maryland and Florida. Maryland probably shouldn't have got by Colorado State, as I say, but they're dangerous. Florida's playing really good basketball. Arizona and Duke, a nice 1-4 matchup. And Arkansas and Texas Tech. The 10's very alive here. Or is Arkansas were they just a beneficiary of St. John's? My English is not very good tonight. St. John's ineptitude. 30% they shot. Is that because of Arkansas's defense, or they just were cold? The team had trouble putting the ball in the hoop all year. So did Tennessee, who's also playing on Friday. 7:09 on CBS Friday. Ole Miss and Michigan State. I love Tom Izzo's team. My winner. All I got now is probably being able to say I picked the winner. My bracket's blowed up. Kentucky, Tennessee, and a big matchup of a 3 against a 2 from the SEC. First interconference matchup. Seems like there's got to be another one. Michigan and Auburn, 5 against a 1. Purdue and Houston, 4 against a 1. This is where we get exciting. I know everybody likes Cinderella, but I like big-time college basketball matchups, and we're loaded here. We're loaded. Good evening, Sonia. How come I didn't mention Duke? Oh, I did mention Duke. Sorry, they're playing on Thursday. Sonia made me think about Duke. So the first, they did a good job with the brackets because we managed in a Sweet 16, even with how many teams from the SEC? 1, 2, 3, maybe it's 6, 4, 5, 6, 7. I was right. 7 teams from the SEC. They can only get 1 matchup in the Sweet 16. Great job by the committee of bracketing these teams, so we aren't just overrun with 3, SEC matchups here in the Sweet 16. Happy birthday to Marcus Allen, a standout running back at USC, Heisman Trophy winner, great NFL player in Oakland, LA, wherever you want to call that one, and Kansas City. Came out of the Abraham Lincoln program out of California. That school also produced accomplished Dave Grayson, who was drafted out of Oregon. You give me a name like Dave Grayson. What Dave Grayson do? Thanks, Chris. You got me going to the lookup machine already, also called the internet. Sound like my grandfather. Oh, Dave, how come I put in Chris Grayson? What the hell? Oh, I'm talking about Chris F. Grave, and I typed in his name. Chris has got, one of the great radio voices, by the way, in the history of anything. Dave Grayson. What did he do in college? I want to know what he did in college. Give me his college stats. I don't really care about his professional. This is a college show. But they skip it. Wikipedia doesn't even have anything about his college career in here. We're going to say he was a standout he was a linebacker, played at Oregon, and went and played in the NFL. Great job. Sonia, I think we got some claps there. I can't see for whatever reason. I did mention Duke, who is the number 1 rated team. We're going to look at this pretty quick. Thank you for the shares, Sonia. Always appreciate that. I didn't even do my open. I want to welcome everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Welcome to all the, thank you to all the groups that will let me share this. John Gonzalez at the Sports Authorities. Flo and the gang at Bottom Line Sports. Let's Talk Sports. Great content. We're live, by the way, on Roku, the National Streaming Sports Network. Tremendous content over there, 24/7. Sonia being part of it. Ken Krause, Golf Buds, Sports of All Sorts, and many, many more. There's hundreds of groups that let me share my content too, guys, and it drives so many views. I'm so thankful for all of them. So thank you so much. Quick shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media. Ralph does some great stuff out of Pittsburgh, including the Sports Corner, which he does with Smoke and Jim Frazier every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. I've been a guest there many times and always enjoy myself. And quick thank you, speaking of college, to Wes Pritchett, former Notre Dame linebacker, All-American linebacker, their leading tackler on the 1988 national championship, the last national championship football team for Notre Dame. Wes was great. I got to tell you, it was absolutely tremendous. We had a lot of fun, and you can catch that on my Facebook page or YouTube. And quick shout out to Jim Beringer, who'll be with us. It's the last Friday of the month this week. So one-on-one turns into sound off. You can come in and you can sound off on any topic you want for as long as I let you go. And then Jim and I'll talk about it. And Jim will also update us on the NHL. We'll talk some college basketball. We'll do it all on Friday morning. So thank you for reminding me, and thank you for the shares. Happy birthday to all those folks I just mentioned. Houston might be under the most under the radar number 1 seed I've ever seen. Nobody's talking about Houston. I talk about Houston a lot. Maybe I haven't since this tournament started, and shame on me. I talk all the time about Kelvin Sampson and one of the great coaches in the game today, and it would really cap a tremendous career. Again, some issues here and there that wouldn't be a problem today. His team is healthy. His team plays really good defense. Another team, there's several of these teams, have a little trouble at times putting the ball in the basket. They really dominated Gonzaga in the second round. The score didn't really, I don't think, do justice to how well they handled Gonzaga. So I agree. With that said, too, we'll look at. Let me get through some of your comments here, and then we're going to look at the ranking these 16 teams. Hello, Chris Sonia's got some hellos here. Happy birthday, Marcus. Wow, Wiki. Yeah, screw Wiki. I go there because every time I search somebody, it's the first thing that pops up. Yeah, well, we had a lot of fun that day. Thank you, Sonia. Jim Behringer's great. Houston's lethal. Let's look real quick at these top. Well, we know Duke's a front runner right now. We know that. Best team in this and left in this tournament is Duke. They destroyed Baylor's limited front court en route to a scorching. They scored like a point and a half per possession. That's remarkable, by the way. Tyrese Proctor had a great career game, 25 points. Cooper Flagg seems to be healthy. He had 18 points, 9 rebounds against them, 6 assists. He's him or Johnny Broome is the best player in the country, without a doubt. And they're the number 1 seed right now, top seed in this tournament. Top ranked team, all right? Forget about the seeds. This is only by what we think. I agree with that 100%. I'm going to disagree with number 2. The Athletic right now has Florida number 2. They played really well. They did escape a close game against UConn here in the second round. Danny Hurley, I love Danny Hurley, but you're your own worst enemy. You can't leave there and have videos go viral that say, we got effed. I hope they don't F you, Baylor, the way they effed us. Come on, Danny. It's a chance to teach kids a life lesson. Where's the Rick Pitino video? I want the Rick Pitino video. I'll get bounced off of here for the language, but I'll tell you what, right now. Here's what you got to do. This is the difference between Rick Pitino. Bear with me a second. Let me find this video. I got to play this. Come on, I'm trying to work a keyboard that's like way above me here. This is the difference between. Where is that video? Come on. Any other time I search this, it's like right at the top of my right at the top of my result. Now I got all this stuff from. I want this locker room speech from Pitino to his kids. Oh man, come on, Rick, where are you? All right, let me try one more thing, guys. I want to show you the difference. This is very important to me. Locker room. Come on, I'll get you. You going to give it to me or not? Boy, I don't know what search engine I'm on right now, but it stinks, man. It's great basketball here. Here it is right here. Hold on. All right, let me see if I can bring this up. Let me see if I can bring this up, guys. Bear with me. Can't do it that way. All right, everybody still with me? Anybody leave yet? Or oh my God. All right, here we go. I just got to bring it up here. There's the difference. I'm going to tell you a little something about this clip before I do it. Okay. Hang on. Don't play yet. Don't play yet. I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to blow it up. And I'm going to tell you guys, here's the difference between Danny Hurley giving his kids an out, blaming the referees, not his own team, not himself, losing the chance to be a great coach of young men and show them there's a lesson to be learned here. Just check out Rick Pitino in this video. Bear with me. I'm getting there. See if I can blow this up.
Dig in and be a basketball player. Dig in. Every time you miss a shot, your game deflates. We don't care about your missed shots.
St. John's is having a dream season under Rick Pitino,
Really?
and now it's no question why his guys are playing so hard. In the first episode of Vice TV's Pitino Side Look Room during a December game by 4-9, Pitino's in the Big East shot, you don't care upon opportunity. Storm will bad thing, no said, PTSD of the toughest play to King give up, don't you know, you don't tougher. I really wasn't that tough on them. You should have seen some of my Kentucky halftimes, Pitino told WFAN on Tuesday morning after the clip.
It's not the video. Yeah. This guy won't shut up. You didn't see it. Here it is. I'm going to try one more time. I'm going to try one more time because this is so freaking good. This one doesn't have the video. Oh, my God. You know, this should have been very easy, right? I didn't want a guy dissecting it and telling me what he said. I wanted to hear what he said. You're going to give me this one? Here's Instagram. This is going to give it to me. Are you kidding me? You're going to give it to me? Here we go. All right, hold on. I think I got it. But I can't. Man. All right. Well, it's not going to be the best quality, but we're going to play it anyway. We're going to try it anyway. All right. Aren't I terrible? Why did I start this? Does anybody remember why I started this whole frickin' thing? Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. Here we go. Can I get this in here or not? Can I get this in the frickin' room or not? I want to make this bigger, though. All right, hold on.
Dig in and be a basketball player. Dig in. Every time you miss a shot, your game deflates. We don't care about your missed shots. Play defense. You guys keep blowing opportunity upon opportunity upon opportunity. You're like children with bad things happening. Instead of digging in and be tougher, you wilt. Where is your toughness? Where have you guys been raised that you're so weak mentally that you just give up when something doesn't go right for you? Don't you know what adversity is all about? That's the game of life, not the game of basketball. You don't get down when things go wrong. You dig in and get tougher. Your whole life's going to be adversity. Learn how to deal with it.
Pitino, Red Storm Rising.
100%. Took a little bit to get there, but this is why Danny Hurley is not Rick Pitino. And I love Danny Hurley. He loses a golden opportunity to teach his kids something about life. And he blows it. I just hate it, man. What you got there, Danny? Cooper Flag reminds me of Jason Tatum. I guess. I've never been the biggest Jason Tatum fan in the world. He's a great player. Danny's lost his marbles. He is real, but here, listen. Again, you are also molding young men. These kids aren't all going to the NBA. Even if they are, teach them about life. Adversity is part of life. Every day you deal with something that doesn't go your way. And adversity. Life is, I read this a long time ago. I wish I had the whole, it's a poem kind of, I guess it's a poem type thing. But anyway, the gist of it is life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you deal with it. You blew it, Danny. That clip of Rick Pitino is all you need to know about how great coaches turn out great people. Right? Agreed. He is a great player. I don't do TikTok. The Chinese get nothing from me. Sorry. Right? I know, Sonia. It was painful for me too. I promise. For those just tuning. Oh God! I'm like a dog with a bone when I want something, man. It's got to be there for sure. We love Jason Tatum, right? Rick Pitino. Anyway, where was I? This is like the stream of consciousness this morning. Thank you, Chris, for getting me back on the Lawrence Welk show. Oh, God. Florida's ranked second, as I said, just got by Danny Hurley. Houston's third. I'm putting Houston second. I'm going to put Auburn third and who right now they're fourth. And Florida fourth. Houston, as AC mentioned, they played great defense, man. The offense played better against Gonzaga. LJ Cryer went for 30. If he's healthy, this team is going to be unbelievably tough to beat. Now they're going to get Purdue. Purdue's got a good offense. That defense is going to get worked on. Auburn, I've got them 3. Florida 4. They played 2 outstanding games, 2 outstanding second halves. Bruce Pearl has been, had some really good teams that have kind of flamed out in the tournament. We'll see if he can get by in the Sweet 16 here and get to that Elite 8. It's a very well-balanced team. And again, I think Johnny Broome is very close to Cooper Flagg territory as far as player of the year. They put Texas Tech 5th and Alabama 6th. I'm dropping Alabama probably down past Michigan State. I'll leave Texas Tech here just because they're playing really good basketball at the moment. They handled a really good Drake team. Drake never really got in this game. Their coach has moved on to be the coach of Iowa, by the way, McCullum. So I'll leave them there. But I'm going to leapfrog Michigan State over Alabama and Tennessee into the 6th spot. I just love Tom Izzo, especially in March, especially when he gets ahead of steam. They played 2 really good basketball teams. They played against a very motivated New Mexico team with Richard Pitino, who, by the way, is the new coach of Xavier and will be playing his father now twice a year. They played very well. Tennessee's playing great as well. A 9-point win, a 12-point win. They beat a UCLA team that gave them a tough run in the first half, but faded. Good defense. Again, do they have enough on offense? And I'm going to drop the Crimson Tide down to 8. I think the Crimson Tide loses this next round. I thought they'd lose to St. Mary's, quite frankly, and they handled them pretty well by 14. St. Mary's, I thought their offense would, again, another team with lack of offense. I thought it would kick into gear against Alabama's lackluster defense. Alabama struggled against Robert Morris in the first round. 9, I'm going to put Kentucky at 9 and flip-flop them with Maryland. They've got Maryland second. I think Maryland's very lucky to be here. I think Colorado State should be the second Cinderella maybe here in this tournament. Kentucky, I'm going to put them 9, and we'll put Michigan 10. I'm putting Maryland down to 11 in this tournament. So that's going to put Kentucky at 9, Michigan at 10, Maryland at 11. Mark Polk's done a really good job. They faded a bit late in the season. They played 2 really good games in this tournament, blowing out Troy and handling a pretty good Illinois team by 9. At 11, we'll put Arizona. I think I'm going to flip-flop Purdue and Arizona, 12 and 13. We'll leave BYU at 14, maybe with an arrow. Ole Miss at 15, and don't count out John Calipari's Arkansas Razorbacks, the only double-digit seed left in this tournament, and a very dangerous out here. The question is going to be, how much was that Arkansas defense responsible for the poor shooting by St. John's, and how much was St. John's just shooting themselves in the foot? They beat a very up and down but talented Kansas team in the first round at Arkansas. No, I know that. The video, usually if I go on my phone, I find that video the first thing. Somehow Yahoo has become, they defaulted to my default browser and they stink. Chrome is so much better. I won't use TikTok. I have very few principles. No, that's not true. I do have a lot of principles. One of them is I don't use TikTok. Sorry. Michigan State definitely sneaky good for sure. Tennessee. Sonia likes everybody in this tournament. Yeah, it's easy, because it's Chrome. I still do I'm on Chrome now, but when I go do another search, I end up on Yahoo. I got to check my settings on my computer. I've heard any more of the fate of folks playing on it. Vegas. Well, they hired a new head coach and can't say Jeepers Creepers, the ex Memphis State. Hang on, bear with me here. I'll find it for you. Vegas has hired, what's his name? Memphis State. He coached Memphis State and Georgia Tech. Had a couple really good years taking over for John Calipari at Memphis State. What the hell's his name? Pascal, I think. Is that it? College Basketball Carousel. Then I get off the oh, you're killing me here. It was right at the top of my list here. Anyway, here we go, Chris. You ready? Nevada, Las Vegas. All the way down here at UNLV. They fired Kevin Kruger. Josh Pastner. Thank you. He had a great run at Memphis. And then he faded, was only, 6 or 7 games over 500 the last 2 years there. You remember he took over for John Calipari when the posse chased John out of town with some, again, things that wouldn't be illegal today. And then he went to coach at Georgia Tech and was the ACC Coach of the Year, I think, in 2017. He's been an assistant for a while now, and it's interesting that he's going to get a head coach this late. TikTok is addictive. Reminds me of channel surfing. I'm an addictive channel searcher. I'll sit there at night, after my wife goes to bed, and we've watched, Jeopardy and whatever show we're watching. By the way, I'll give you a great recommendation for a dramedy. You want to catch Vince Vaughn in Bad Monkey? It's based off a novel that I think I'm going to get to read. 10 episodes on Apple. It was tremendous. Vince Vaughn, I sometimes like, sometimes don't like. This was a great vehicle for him. Crime drama, mystery, comedy, all wrapped into one. Great cast. If you like to watch something different, it's really good. There's your TV recommendation today. We'll get to the game. I'm going to predict the games here in a little bit, but here's the coaching changes so far. So Elkhart State fired their coach, Landon Bussey, no replacement yet. It's a ton of changes. Arkansas State fires Brian Hodson, no replacement yet. Bellarmine fires Scott Davenport and hires Doug Davenport. Campbell fired Kevin McNee, hires John Andrzejak. Chicago State, Landon Bussey, who left Alcorn State, is their new coach. Colorado State has got to replace Nico Medved, who I said went to Minnesota. Columbia fired Jim Ingles, hired Kevin Hovind. Denver fired Jeff Wilburn. Drake will have to replace Ben McCullum, who's gone to Iowa, who replaced the fired Fran McCafferty, one of my favorites. Florida State, Leonard Hamilton's retiring. They hired Luke Lux. Big influx of NBA assistants now. Utah had great success with hiring their new coach a couple of years ago. There's probably, I know not the Miami coach. There's a couple other coaches in this lot that are also NBA assistant coaches. Fordham is a new AD, so they fired Keith Engle, who had done okay there for a couple of seasons. The last couple of seasons have not been very good. As we talked about last week, Darian DeVries have spent 1 year at West Virginia. He'll now replace Mike Woodson at Indiana. Iona, Tobin Anderson, who was all the rage at Fairleigh Dickinson just a couple of years ago when they knocked Purdue out of the tournament, if you remember, gets the job at Iona, keeps it a couple of years, and he's fired. Dan Garott gets the job there. I already mentioned Iowa, Cafferty out, McCullum in. LaSalle, Fran Dunphy, long time, great college coach in the Philadelphia area, always coached for three of the big, the big five in Philadelphia. He coached at Penn for a long time, was very successful. Coached at Temple for a long time, replacing their great head coach, Don Chaney. And then he coached at LaSalle for the last few years and finally retired. He's replaced by Darius Nichols. Longwood fires Aldrich, hires Ronnie Thomas. The Louisiana Raging Cajuns, Bob Marlin out, Quantus White in. McNeese has replaced Will Wade, who's going to North Carolina State with Bill Armstrong. Miami replaced Jim Larangaro, who at 74 said, "I've had enough," and walked away at midseason. The NIL, the transfer portal, these older coaches have had enough of this crap, and it's never going to stop. Jim Larangaro walks away. Miami was horrendous anyway. Very classy coach. Did a great job at George Mason, getting them to a Final Four about 2004, I want to say 2005, as an 11 seed. Did a great job at Miami, getting them to the Final Four a couple of years ago. He's replaced by Jayad Lucas, Duke's #1 assistant. Minnesota replaced Ben Johnson with Nico Medved, as I said. Murray State replaces Steve Brom with Ryan Miller. Navy will be looking to replace Ed DeChillis. Will Wade, as I mentioned, replaced Kevin Keats at North Carolina State. Kevin Keats, 1 year removed from having a great Cinderella run to Final Four at North Carolina State. You're out. Oral Roberts will be looking to replace Russell Springman. Penn will look to replace Steve Donahue. Radford will replace Darius Nichols, who moved on, as I said, to one of these other jobs. LaSalle. So they replaced him with Zach Chu. Sacramento State, Mike Bibby will be the coach there. Former Arizona star, NBA star, Mike Bibby will be the new coach there. South Florida will replace Abdur Rahim, who tragically passed away during this season, with Brian Hodson. Stephen F. Austin will replace Kyle Keller, who's moved on to a new job with Matt Brower. Texas replaces Rodney Terry with the guy who knocked him out of the tournament in the first four, Sean Miller, who I mentioned, him and Will Wade were being chased around by the FBI for half a decade. Now they're both back in the big time. UL Monroe replaces Keith Richard with Phil Cunningham. We talked about UNLV. Utah replaces Craig Smith with Alec Jensen, another assistant NBA coach. VCU needs to replace Ryan Odom, who took the job at Virginia, replacing Tony Bennett, who stepped down just before the start of this season. Great coach. Had enough. Kyle Neptune didn't work out, replacing Jay Wright at Villanova. He'll be replaced. A lot of talk that Kevin Willard from Maryland will be in play for this job. Also, some whispers that Mitch Cronin from UCLA will be in play for this job. West Virginia needs to replace Darren DeVries, who spent 1 year here after coming in from Drake. He's moved on to Indiana. And, of course, Xavier needs to replace Sean Miller, and they did that today with Richard Pitino, who'll get to play against his dad, the same conference now. So there's where you have all the coaching updates. What else is going on in the world of college basketball and basketball in general? Oh, let me get rid of this. They're actually, West Virginia is looking at North Texas's Russ Hodge to be their next coach. Nothing official yet. We've mentioned Richard Pitino leaving the Lobos. Did a great job. Flamed out at Minnesota. Had a couple of decent teams early on, but this is why I'm a little surprised Nico Medved is going to Minnesota. It's not a great job. It's a coach killer. You can put together a team for a year or so, but you can't sustain success there. They don't have the facilities. The talk of VCU needs to replace their coach, as we said. They're hiring Bryant's Phil Martelli Jr. Phil Martelli, one of my favorite coaches at St. Joe's. Got St. Joe's to a Final Four 2 decades ago, I would say, with Jameer Nelson as his best player. But Phil is a great coach, and he spent some time coaching with his father on that St. Joe's bench and has been working his way up the right way through the coaching ranks. It looks like he'll be the new coach at VCU, so congratulations to him. Had a good year at Bryant again this year. We mentioned the transfer portal is open. Already St. John's has lost a couple players. They brought in a great shooting guard. Drake standout Sturts is going to follow McCollum to Iowa. This is the state of college sports today. And Wade tells North Carolina State they're going to get the best version of him. Not sure what that is, but congratulations to Will Wade. What else? Anything else up here? Josh Pastner, we talked about. Transfer portals open. What big names jumped? Mackenzie Mbako from Indiana is in the portal. Magoon Guath from San Diego State. All guys that we saw play recently in a tournament. Dalian Swain from Xavier. Good chance he's going to follow Sean Miller to Texas, though. Isaac McNeely, from Virginia. Langston Love from Baylor. Dickerson from Robert Morris just played a really good game against Alabama. Andrew Rode from Virginia. Christoph Tilley from Santa Clara. All have entered the portal along with a bunch of other guys. Where else? What else we got? I'm going to get to the picking the games here in just a second. We went through the portal. We went through that. How about college football? There's some news in college football. Stanford needs a reset as they have fired their head coach over abusive behavior and language towards women. And I do want to talk a little bit about Jim Zullo, head coach at Northville High School here in upstate New York. The story's gone viral. I'll talk about him here as soon as I talk about Troy Taylor. Troy Taylor was accused of inappropriate comments about other women, about their appearances, about bullying them. And Andrew Luck, former NFL star and Stanford star quarterback, who's the new GM there, has fired Coach Taylor for said abusive behavior. You cannot act out in any way, shape, or form. And here's I asked this question Saturday. I never really got an answer. I should have done this a different way. I'm I'm going to show you another video. Is there a difference in, I don't know whether we want to call this abusive behavior? Yes. Jim Zullo, who's the head coach at, I'm going to bring this video up too here in a second. As soon as I can cue it up. Got to wait for it to load, I guess. There we go. All right, we're going to bring this up in just a second. So the Stanford football coach gets fired for this type of thing. Jim Zullo on a high school level, and I am not condoning Jim Zullo's post-game behavior here or this behavior in general. They lost the Class D state championship here in New York State for the second year in a row. He's 81 years old. He's had a 50-year stellar career as a coach in his several communities. He started at Shenendehowa. Won a state championship there. He retired for a few years, came out of retirement, went to Broadalb and Perth. And now his whole coaching career is smeared because of one hair pulling incident. I'm not condoning his behavior here. I promise you I'm not. But I want to know if there's a difference what you can get away with girls and what you can get away with say guys. And does what he did here reach the level? I want to get to the video. Here we go. Hold on. I want to show you what happened here. And you guys can tell me. I've already talked a lot about this on other shows. My Sunday Stream of Consciousness show specifically. I need volume. And you tell me whether this should be. Now, here's the thing. Let me show you the clip. Let me blow this up. You ready?
Yes, Northville girls basketball head coach Jim Zullo, a New York State Basketball Hall of Famer, was fired late last night following a post-game incident with one of his own players. After Northville's loss in the Class D championship game, Zullo was seen on the NFHS network broadcast pulling the hair of senior Haley Monroe as the team waited for the medal presentation. The video has garnered a lot of social media outrage. Zullo told News 10 ABC that Monroe directed an expletive toward him after he instructed her to shake hands with the opposing team, which is what he says led to the incident. In a statement, the school district said in part, quote, "The Northville Central School District is aware of and deeply disturbed by the conduct of the coach of the girls."
All right. So he was arrested. Not arrested, I apologize. He was fired. He was cited for second-degree harassment, which is a misdemeanor. He's going to get a ticket, basically. Now, social media was all afire, and when I first saw this, I was outraged as well. I mean, you can't put your hands on a woman ever. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite here, right? I said I've lost friends, I've lost lots of things over people putting hands on a woman. I was involved in a relationship years ago where hands were put on me, and I walked away. Just walk away. Actually, more than hands were put on me. Many, many years ago. And I was outraged when I first saw this, right? But I've become more outraged by the social media reaction where this is an 81-year-old man. He's had a very distinguished career. I'm not excusing his behavior. The kid, the girl, top scorer in school history, mouthed off to him when he said, go shake hands, show some sportsmanship. She gave him a lip. She swore at him again, by some accounts, most accounts. He pulled her hair. Is that assault and battery? That's what except for, and I'm in the minority here. He should be fired, and he's lost his reputation. Isn't that enough? He's 81 years old. People want him arrested for assault. People want said if that was my daughter, I'd go kick his ass on the court, and he'd go out of there in an ambulance. How does violence supposed to fix violence? If that's a violent act. So I bring that up because I asked Sunday morning, and we had a long discussion about this, but I bring it up again because I really didn't get an answer. So we see a lot of this in college sports. We see coaches who put their hands on kids, and with men, I mean, Bobby Knight strangled a kid and got fired. But there's been plenty of times where Bobby kicked kids. He put his hands on kids. We talked with some of our followers and people I went to school with about football coaches who would grab boys by the face mask and throw them around like rag dolls. Are we soft, or is there a difference between what you can do with a girl and with a guy? I just don't know. And I think, look, I know it's high school and we're talking about college basketball and college football and stuff, but I mean, I'm not sure. Listen, I don't think he should have no repercussions here. But good God, we're talking about getting them grief counselors. No, well, not grief counselors, but, crisis counselors for the family and for the girl. And I'm like, is this going to scar her for life? Having her hair pulled by her coach? Inappropriate, without a doubt. The world's changed, man. You can't do that stuff. I don't think you can do it with guys today. Somebody brought up Woody Hayes on Sunday. Woody Hayes lost his job when he grabbed the face mask. I think it was AC. Maybe you brought it up, AC. Woody Hayes grabbed the face mask of a Clemson player in the Gator Bowl in 1979 or 80. Jim Bauman, I think his name was Charlie Bauman. And he also gave him a freaking forearm shiver to the throat. That's different. A player on the other team, during the heat of competition, he picked him up and gave him a forearm shiver to the throat. That's not the same thing as what Jim Zulo did here. A distinguished 50-year career, New York State Basketball Hall of Fame. He's lost his job. He lost his career. He lost his reputation. He knows what he did was wrong. He apologized. I mean, he didn't pull this girl to the floor and drag her to midcourt to shake hands. And the girl that got in between them, good for her. I'm glad she did. But she's his great niece, by the way. The coach's great niece. And he got in her face a little bit. I mean, kids don't learn anything either if you let them just be bad sports and mouth off to elders. We just let kids do whatever we want today. When I was a kid, you didn't get involved in... My coach said, do something, I did it. I didn't debate it with him. Uncoachable kids become unemployable adults. And I'm not saying this is the way you coach kids. But I think there's something to the fact that he wasn't shown respect he deserved by this girl anyway. And I know this is going to be an unpopular stance to take on this topic. And again, I'm not defending him. Really not. But I don't think a 50-year career ought to be washed away by one instant. And some of the stuff I saw on social media was just, I'm sorry, disgusting. You can say he did something wrong and should be fired, but to say you're going to beat the crap out of an 81-year-old man because he made one mistake of pulling a girl's hair, there's a lot worse things that happen to people than that. Is that going to scar you for life? I don't think so. And if it does, man, you're not very strong to begin with. I'm sorry. I just had to get that out today. So anyway, I was hoping to get a little comment back, though. Is there a difference between men and women? Has times changed so much that you can't show any physicality with a player as a coach? And not all coaches, they're tough coaches who never put their hands on a kid. But this didn't reach the level of, say, people want him arrested for assault and battery. Okay, he's trying to cause physical harm. I hope this gets resolved somehow. The coach apologized. He's been a good person in that community, done a lot for that community, done a lot for other communities. And again, I think he's being punished in a court of public opinion, has taken away his reputation. Leave the old man alone. That's all I got to say about that. Sorry, I'm up on my soapbox here, and that's what I do sometimes. Anyway, where was I? We've talked about spring games going away in football. Bedlam, which we know will not be played for a few years, the Oklahoma State longtime rivalry won't happen for some time because of the departure of OU to the SEC. Mike Gundy, coach at Oklahoma State, has suggested an OU spring game. This is going to be the new thing, by the way. They don't want to play the, whatever school we're talking about, green and white spring game. They want to play other schools in a spring game with similar to and have workouts leading up to it, similar to what the NFL does in the exhibition season. Often they'll come in and have dual scrimmages leading up to an exhibition game, and that's what a lot of these colleges are suggesting. Colorado and Deion Sanders has suggested it. Syracuse is considering going out there for that spring game. So it's just a new thing. Still growing strong. It's just you over there. I don't know what we're going to do about the YouTube side. I have no idea whether I'm going to just drop. I'm not going to drop it because Chris and JB comes into. There's a lot of guys that come in from YouTube. We just don't get them all at once. We don't get the views later on that we get on Facebook. Again, I'll share this to the groups that I mentioned at the top of the show and 100 others, and we'll get 2,000 views on Facebook and Twitter. But YouTube, I mean, I've had about 4 videos go over 100. Most of them are around 7, 10, 15, 25 views. I think in retirement, I'm going to figure out a way to go for it. There's Scott Kobe. He's there now on YouTube. Hello, Scott. How are you? Keith in the home. Jim Zulo is going to be joining us now that he's going to be put out on the street in Northville for pulling a girl's ponytail. Yeah, I'm not trying to make light of that situation. It's just, to me, it's really been really blown out of proportion. And it shows you the power of social media is tremendous. This happened on Friday night. I brought it up on my Sunday show thinking I would just school some people, and everybody knew about it. Danny Fuller out in L.A. knew about it. Amazing. Scott, since you're here, let's go. Scott, here's the deal. I'm going to tell you my takeaway from the tournament so far. Let's recap. We're going to do the picks. Here's my losers. I'm sorry, the winners. The winners in the tournament so far. The power conferences, absolutely no mid-major in the Sweet 16 since I think 1975. The SEC, big winner, 7 teams in the Sweet 16. And by the way, I'll add, and I didn't put this in here at the top, but I'll add the committee. I'll add the committee as a winner here for keeping the SEC from having more than one matchup in the Sweet 16. Great job. Maybe it's just dumb luck. And Coach Cal in Arkansas, big winners. There could be others. You can give me your opinion. The losers, the Big East, huge losers. St. John's, big loser. And the mid-majors. Just not a good showing. I had 2 mid-majors getting to the Sweet 16. It would have been St. Mary's and Drake. And neither one of them showed up. And one thing I didn't do is look at the pool yet. Let me do that. You got a ticket. So one, each of them winning it. They can't both win, right, Scott? You do know that, right? Somebody didn't sell you a ticket saying two people could win the national championship. So you got them both to win, or you got them playing each other? Let me look at the pool, by the way, because Keith sucks, man. He can't do worse than what we're doing here. I am 10th in my own pool. I'm last in my own pool. No, second to last. Oh, wait a minute. Where am I here? I'm sorry. I'm 5th. Look at that. There's 10 people in the pool. Somehow I'm 5th with a blown up bracket. I can only get 1,200 points. I do have Michigan State. I'm the only one in the pool with Michigan State. CA is leading away with 490 points. He's got a max of 1610, and he's got Florida winning. Pretty good. He's got some winners left in this tournament. Danny's second at 480, only 10 points behind. He's got a max of 640 with Duke. I think Danny might be the front runner here. Rick with Florida as the winner, 470. Defending champion, by the way, 1670 points. He's got more teams alive, I'm going to say, than either of the top two teams. Scott Kobe's hanging in there with Florida. 1740 max. Scott's got a bunch of teams left. Keith at 400, only at 1200 max. I do have Michigan State to win it all. So if we get some teams, problem is somebody's going to be winning with all these games. Allen at 400, he can get to 680. he's got St. John. So Allen, I hope you're feeling better. I'm not sure what's going on with you, buddy. I saw a post today. I hope you're feeling better. This conversation won't make you feel better. Down at 7th, NC belongs. I forget who that is now. They do have Duke. They only got 390 points, but they got a 1590 final. They could fight it out at the end with Danny Fuller. Poppy's Picks has Florida, only 380 so far. 1540 is their max. Then Paul had St. John's, 330, 810. You know, and somebody mentioned too that the women's bracket, that there was more parity, and I'm like, are you kidding me? They follow form more than the men ever follow form. The Sweet 16 is loaded with 1s and 2s and 3s, and maybe a 5, but you don't get parity over there. Mid-majors don't make it to the Sweet 16. There's haves and there's have-nots, and that's the haves always win. So I don't know how I'm doing. How am I doing in that pool? Rick is also the defending champion in that, by the way. Congratulations belatedly again to Rick Sherlock, who won both these pools last year. Who's leading here? Scott Kobe's in first on the women's side, and he's got UConn to win it all. Lady G, I don't know who that is. Who's Lady G? Who is that? They got South Carolina to win it all. Pesky Dodgers. Danny has South Carolina to win it all. They're both 20 points behind Scott Kobe. Rick has South Carolina. It's going to be a close race if South Carolina wins this. Poppy's Picks has USC, who just lost Juju Watkins, and probably their chance to make it to the Final Four. To me, that's one of the most interesting stories is there somebody to step up and fill the void for USC, and can they continue the run? I have UCLA only 440 points right now, and Paul has Connecticut and 290. So everybody's got their champions alive. I'm going to say the South Carolina group is probably in pretty good shape. Each of them. I do have NC State, or I do have Michigan State, by the way. I did put a crisp $100 bet on Michigan State plus 2,500. Chris says Canadian quarterback Taylor Elgersma performs at the University of Buffalo Pro Day. Interesting. It's a weak quarterback draft. Maybe he beats out Cam and Shador. Just kidding. It'll be interesting. There's a name to keep an eye on late in the draft. Taylor Eggersma. Did he play at a Canadian university, Chris? Scott Kobe says, I'm very, very afraid of mid-majors and smaller schools going forward if they expand the term. I agree 100%. Scott, they're going to set, that's not an if, by the way. They're going to expand this term. It's a matter of whether it's this year or this coming season or the following. 72, most likely 76. And do you think they're going to expand it and take more mid-majors and, good second-place teams like Bradley, who finished second to a really good Drake team in the Missouri Valley, or, San Francisco from the West Coast Conference, who finished third to Gonzaga and St. Mary's, or teams that have great regular seasons and lose in their conference tournament and some of these one bid leagues? No. I'm going to be now seeing 14 teams from the Big 12, 14 teams from the Big 10, 16 teams from the SEC. Just let them all in. I mean, how did those teams do? You've got a great point, though, Scott. They're not going to let these teams in. You may have seen the end of the mid-majors' chances to make it to a Final Four. And somebody tell me how that is a championship tournament when you're letting 14 teams in from the SEC. And how have they done? These teams I said shouldn't be there. By the way, in full disclosure, I said Arkansas did not belong in this tournament. Who got in? Texas. They played well, didn't they? Oklahoma. They played well, didn't they? Vanderbilt. They played well, didn't they? Georgia. They played well, didn't they? Mississippi State. I said all these 8 and 10 teams should be out, including Arkansas. So, okay, you give me I'll give you one mulligan. These teams shouldn't be in this tournament. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams finish 8 and 10 or 6 and 12. They make this tournament and don't do anything. Jesus, I'd rather see teams like Central Connecticut get in, who lost to St. Francis, who's dropping to Division III, by the way. They finished 16-18. They upset them in a conference tournament. Central Connecticut. I'd rather see that than a freaking 6 and 12 Texas team get in there. Boise State goes home. San Diego State didn't represent very well. Bradley with a great season, sitting home. I'm sure I can come up with plenty more. Quinnipiac gets upset in the tournament by Mount St. Mary's in the MAC. Take them. Maybe not them. Again, I'm just throwing out some examples. I'm not saying all these teams belong in here, but stop. It's going to get worse. The Big Ten. Well, I guess they didn't really. Indiana didn't go. Well, they really didn't have any issues. Geez, Villanova deserves to be there more than Texas or Mississippi State or Oklahoma. Kills me. I know. I saw you there, my friend. Good job. Watch out for Rick Sherlock coming up from behind. Hi to Tora Hanada, done with Colorado State and played in 2 games in 2023. I really don't know that much about him, Chris. We'll get into that another day. All right. Let me look him up. Chris has got me now. Haida Torah. Canada. What do you do? Football. Colorado State. Defensive tackle. He made 3 tackles against Arizona State in his debut. Or, I'm sorry, against Air Force. And that's the only note I have on him. Yes, I'm going to say his career's over. Let's get to the picks. Scott, you can tell me. Any surprises or any winners or losers I didn't name there, Chris, you can feel free to put something out there. Let's go to the games. There we go. All right. I can give you spreads today. This is Friday's games. Let's get to Thursday's games. BYU, Alabama. They're playing at the Prudential Center in Newark. By the way, we finally get rid of the bubble here. So East Region is playing at Newark, New Jersey. By the way, if you've never been to New Jersey and never been to Newark, Newark smells really bad. I just want to tell you. I stayed in a hotel there one time when I had to flight got canceled. I've never smelled things like that in my life. Went to a Perkins. The smell was worse. Anyway, BYU over Alabama. Alabama's 5.5 in this game. I like BYU to win this game. The over-under is really high, 175. Alabama plays no defense. I think this game could go into the hundreds. I take BYU in an upset, 6/2. Maryland and Florida. Florida's a 6.5-point favorite. Maryland lucky to be here. I froze. Finally took me an hour. Oh, wait a minute. I unfroze this time. Nice. Maybe I got to be more patient from now on. Scott loves the over. You like Alabama? I think Nate Oates is a great coach. I don't like this particular Alabama team. I thought they'd get beat by St. Mary's. And they really handled St. Mary's pretty well. St. Mary's, again, great defensive team, veterans, can't put the ball in the basket, even against a bad defensive team. BYU can put the ball in the basket. I would love the over here myself. You just gave away your tickets. You'd love the over, as do I. Florida's going to win. They did have their scare. I like Florida. They're going to win this game for sure. Maryland shouldn't be here. That kid took 5 steps. Arizona and Duke. Duke a 9.5-point favorite. I don't think this is going to be a problem. I think Duke covers this is a big spread for Sweet 16, kind of. I think Duke is the best team left in this tournament. I think Florida, I disagree with Scott a little bit, maybe. I don't know where you rank them. The top 4 for me right now are Duke in this order. Duke, Houston, Auburn, and Florida. Up for debate. I think Duke wins this game easily. This game's also in Newark. By the way, the Maryland-Florida game is in the West region. That's at the Chase Center in San Francisco. I don't know what it smells like there. I've been to San Francisco. It's a very, you get an ocean smell in a lot of San Francisco. I like it a lot. You go down by the pier, it gets a little fishy, but it still smells better than Newark. Arkansas at the Chase Center in San Francisco. Arkansas will play Texas Tech. Texas Tech, a 5.5-point favorite. I'm going to ride Cinderella one more time here, and I'm going to take Arkansas in this game. Scott's got Duke for sure. Scott likes my top 4. Nice. The Athletic, by the way, had Florida 2, Auburn 3, Houston 4, just to let you know. Athletic's really gone downhill. Texas Tech wins. Arkansas covers. There's a good call. Those are your 4 games Thursday. By the way, I love these 2 days. I really do. I like these 2 days a lot, Thursday and Friday. The first 2 days of the tournament are great. Saturday and Sunday, I don't like the way they space the games out. I love this Thursday and Friday. To me, it's the best. This is the best 2 days of the tournament for me. Sweet 16 is always my favorite. We're going to get at State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, in the South region. Number 2, Michigan State against number 6, Ole Miss. MSU 3.5. I probably won't bet the game because I already got 2,500 riding on this game. So I will take Michigan to win this game, and I think they will cover. Houston's got a great freaking defense, and they're healthy. They haven't been healthy like this since about December. People are taking Houston too lightly. We talked about it earlier in the show. Michigan State pulls the game out. Here's the thing, too, Scott. This is a team that is not going to blow teams away the rest of this tournament. And I'll tell you what. This is a Sweet 16. I'm going to eliminate Arkansas. I can see any of these other teams in the Final Four. You can make an argument for 15 of these, and maybe you can make an argument for Arkansas, I guess, if you want to try. And maybe I'll say BYU, no. But you can make an argument for pretty much any one of the 14. I'll give you 14. 14 of these 16 teams to make the Final Four. Could. They won't, obviously. In a really good, the only SEC avoided with 7 teams of 16 here. They avoided more than one matchup here in the Sweet 16. Don't know if it's smart looking ahead by the committee or dumb luck. But number 3, Kentucky will play number 2, Tennessee at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Tennessee 4.5. This is another team, tenacious defense. Rick Barnes teaches some of the best defense in the country year after year after year after year after year, but his teams have trouble scoring points. They've played well so far. Mark Pope had a little bit of a lull the end of the season. I think Kentucky pulls this one out. I take it back. I just changed my mind. Rick Barnes and Tennessee get by the first SEC matchup here. BYU has to shoot at the worst 40% from 3 land or they can't win. I think they might. Again, Oklahoma plays bad defense. They play bad 3-point defense. That's why, I just have this thing to pick against Alabama right now. It's funny because I like Nate Oates a lot. You're taking Kentucky to beat them twice. It's not a good matchup for Tennessee. Possibly you're right. I did change my mind at the last minute here, so we'll see. Tennessee guards don't ever play well against Kentucky. So you're saying they're due. Just kidding. So we'll differ on that one. I'm gonna say Rick Barnes gets the monkey off his back here at Tennessee. I don't believe he's had his team to a Final Four, has he? And I guess we gotta go ahead and pick the rest of the bracket too. Now that I think about it, it's already 8-19. So I'll do the rest of the bracket as well. Michigan. Now we'll just pick we'll pick the Elite Eight as well. So Michigan and Auburn, I think it's an interesting matchup. Auburn's 8.5. I think Michigan might cover this game, but I think Auburn wins. Yeah, I don't think so either. Rick Barnes, we're talking about being in the Final Four. And Purdue, an interesting matchup. Purdue's got, it's funny. Painter's I think he's a really good coach. He's had trouble until last year getting over the hump, getting to the Final Four, and they didn't play well in the final. He's got a better offense than a defense in my mind in this matchup. Houston's defense is so good, though. I think it stops this better Purdue offense, and Houston's offense has played much, much better. Played pretty well against Gonzaga. That game was not as close as what the score was. It was kind of a weird game. And Scott's got Houston will dominate Purdue in Indianapolis. And Michigan ends here, but they cover. Same thing as I said. And let's look at the Elite Eight matchup. Since we're talking about it, I won't have the odds for you, but I will give you my winners. That's going to leave Auburn against Michigan State, and I like Michigan State to upset Bruce Pearl and keep him out of the Final Four again. We'll pick our final the final after we see the results here. I'm sorry, that's not Florida, Maryland. We're going to have Florida against. I said Arkansas wins. I think Scott's got Texas Tech. I'm going to take Florida to beat Arkansas in an SEC matchup. Going back out to the where am I? Midwest, I guess. I've got Tennessee left against Houston. I don't see anybody beating Houston in this region. Houston will go to the Final Four. And we've got Duke against BYU, and that will be a no-brainer for me. Duke gets to the Final Four. So I've got a Michigan State, Duke, Florida, Houston Final Four. We'll see what I pick from there. Going to be an interesting Duke-Houston matchup and potentially Michigan State and Florida. I think that's a powerful, powerful Final Four and a lot of fun. Close game, but I agree with Michigan State. Florida over either. Agreed. Florida doesn't lose. Again, there's not the teams I picked to the Final Four are not going to be teams I see losing to either team that would win the other side of this matchup. So that's what we have. Scott, what do you got? What's your last? You can give me. Well, you'll be here next week, hopefully, buddy. And as it stands today, I would like Duke, who had losing to Clemson in this side of the bracket on the Final Four. I still got a shot with Michigan winning it all. Some British football news. What do you got? Is that football or soccer? All four. Yeah. How is it ever happened? I don't know if it's ever happened. Let me do a little quick research here. Have all four number one seeds made the Final Four. This is a scratch tournament this year, so I get it. Only once in the Final Four. Oh, yeah, I should have known this. 2008. Kansas, Memphis, UCLA, and North Carolina all made it to the Final Four. I remember that. John Calipari nearly won a national championship. What do you got for me? Hercules, who is currently a third-year mechanical engineering student. I don't know what the rest of that means. Student at Brighton secured a contract to play for the Geyer Sharks in the first division of the American Football League in Hungary. This is a football? There you go. Scott Kobe's ahead of me. Did you know that? Or did you look it up like I did? In San Antonio, ironically. That would be interesting if for the second time it'll also be in the San Antonio Alamo Dome. It sounds like I watch a show called Bosch. I don't know if you guys have seen Bosch, and his name is Hieronymus Bosch. Reminds me a little of that. This is a great. It sounds like I'm watching like an episode of some period show in Rome, right? Yeah, you know, I knew it too. No, that's good. That's a great call. I don't have the recall that I used to. If I go back further, I remember stuff. I don't remember stuff like 20 years ago. I remember stuff, or 17 years ago in this case. I remember stuff 40 years ago like it was yesterday, 50 years ago. Unbelievable. Guys, we had a good time. We talked about a lot of stuff. We talked some basketball. We talked some football. We'll get a little bit of college baseball in once basketball's over here, and then we'll take a little hiatus here in a couple of months. We'll still do shows probably right through to May, maybe into June, and then we usually take a month or two off for this show before we gear up for the college football season. It should be another interesting one coming up. In any event, I appreciate everybody coming in and joining us today. Sonia for all the shares. Scott, Kobe coming in late, giving us his picks. Chris giving us the Roman emperors that are playing football over there. And Hercula said, I'd never imagined playing American football, let alone going professional. But joining, I get the hiccups. But joining the university team changed everything. Well, good for him. Chris, has more than met the challenge I have given him here months back. So great job. Great job by you, Chris. Great job by Scott. Great job by Sonia. Who else is with us? AC was with us earlier. All you guys and all you that watch this later, don't feel you can't comment, because if I see your comments pop up, I'll comment back. Right back at you. Keith Engle for TGI Sports Talks at College Sports Huddle. It's a Sweet 16 starting tomorrow night. My favorite 2 nights of the year. You guys enjoy, and I'll see you on the flip side. Bye-bye.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.